Hi guys, and we are back. Yes, we are. I hope that everyone had an amazing rest of the summer, and I hope everyone is having an amazing beginning to Libra season. It is Libra season. I am a Libra. My birthday is coming up in a few weeks. I have some amazing things planned for, of course, all month, the entire month of October, because that's how we do. So welcome back to the Liberal Conservative. Let's see what has happened since we last spoke. Well, a few things. Some good news is that Google, if you Google the Liberal Conservative, like if you go to Google and then put the Liberal Conservative Yudenia Mesa, I have an actual identity page. So that usually means that Google, I'm on their radar. It's called a knowledge panel. I did not know this. Someone alerted me to it. And it just means that there's enough, data about the Liberal Conservative, and there's enough traction about the podcast that Google creates a knowledge panel with some snippets about the podcast. So that was exciting for a basically just one season that we've had. And also, I haven't done any visuals yet for the Liberal Conservative. I am going to do that this season. I'm very excited about that, actually. And let's see what else has happened. Well, of course, Charlie Kirk has died, and we are going to talk a little bit about that. A ton of really oddly strange executive orders. We have a gubernatorial race coming up in the state of New Jersey next month. And Jack Ciattarelli is gaining some traction against Mickey Sherrill, which is, of course, my candidate of choice. And then I guess that's pretty much all that's happened in a nutshell. So let's dive in, shall we? Let's first begin with, again, welcoming everyone to season 2 of the Liberal Conservative. And let's talk about Charlie Kirk. So how many of my listeners are thinking that this was an inside job? I have so many thoughts. So first of all, I didn't know that Erica Kirk was number 1 in a reality show a couple of years ago. Number 2, she was Miss Arizona. I did not know that. So that puts her in close contact with Donald Trump, right? And also, I really thought that, I still think, right, that Charlie Kirk was gay. A lot of times, these very, very alt-right wing men who are all about religion and God and Jesus tend to be closeted, right? And so they literally shove themselves to the other extreme because they're so afraid of coming out, right? And that's really been the case, actually, even in the Catholic Church, right? Like all these priests who are supposed to be married to God are also pedophiles that, molest and rape little altar boys. So, this is a thing. Unfortunately, we're living in a world where truth is censored and lies are amplified. And so I want to talk about that as well. So, but continuing on with Charlie Kirk, there's all these videos online. Where was the security? How did no one know that there was somebody, on the rooftop? The 2 men that were standing behind him making baseball, signs to someone. We don't know who they were making those signs to. Why were they making those signs, right? And also, if you look at the video, every video I've seen conspicuously cuts off right after he was shot. It doesn't show that the men that were behind him, so his I guess, his protection team. It doesn't show that they like were like, oh my God, that they were like shocked by the gunshot and that they rushed to say, oh my God, are you okay? It kind of just seems like they just stood there like they were expecting it. So I definitely think that it was an inside job, because no matter what, they wanted to blame Democrats. And they did, even though this happened in Utah, a very red state. It also happened, supposedly, the person who did it came from a gun-loving Republican family. And then right away, the rhetoric was almost instant when they started just saying the Democrats, the Democrats, the Democrats. Even his wife gave like a really bad performance, if I may add, saying like his mission will never die if you thought it was going to die. Like what's so interesting about Republicans in general is that they want to push this narrative about Democrats that we like do all of these horrible things. But like, guys, honestly, I am a Democrat and all of my friends are Democrats. And I got to tell you, like, we're busy living our best lives. We do not have time to plot against our enemies. We don't even know them. Like, we don't care. Like, I think about this so much because, like, I have a ton of like low vibration people outside of my sphere, right? Because we can't control like our family. We can't control like some of the people that we met in high school, let's say, for example, right? So like these people exist in my sphere, like I know of them, but I don't really pay any mind to them. Specifically, like let's say even the ones that are closer to me, like, you know, some members of my family that are low vibration. We all have them. I don't ever think of them. I don't call them. I don't talk to them. I don't care, right? I'm like busy doing my podcast, working on my series for Netflix, working my jobs, plural, you know, renovating my house, like doing big boss girl shit. We do not have time to plot against Charlie Kirk. We don't give a fuck. Like, you don't understand. I've known about Charlie Kirk since Charlie Kirk became a thing. I would see him spewing some nonsense at a college sit down, trying to change minds, right? And trying to make people mediocre like him. And I would just scroll. I'm just scrolling. I'm not even listening to it and getting angry and plotting a revenge. Who cares? These people have nothing going on, which is why they spend their time trying to do bad shit. When you're a good person and you're healthy and you're successful, you're not, the reason you're healthy, successful, and a good person is because you're spending time doing productive shit. Everything that Charlie Kirk and the Republicans stand for is non-productive, low vibration bullshit, right? So like, that's not what we do, which is so fucking interesting coming from the people that actually do that. Like, can I ask you why the Republicans are still trying to prevent the release of the Epstein files? Low vibration shit. Yet you spend your time telling me that Tom Hanks is a pedophile that like wants to abduct children and take their organs, right? But like Tom Hanks is saying, show the Epstein files. Like, right? You're the ones that are not showing it. You're the ones that have laws in red states that like want to marry 13-year-olds because adult women won't marry you because you're low vibration. Like, do you see a fucking pattern here? It's literally astonishing that we have to keep having this conversation. So again, I obviously, and I think most people, most humans do not wish death on anyone. However, I am not going to mourn the death of someone who advocated for gun violence, who said Black people really needed to still be slaves because they committed less violence, and who thinks women are property, and who goes around the country spewing to young minds that they don't or shouldn't look for or want an education because an education is a waste of time. This is coming from a college dropout, okay, who a mediocre white dude who just hates that other people aren't mediocre. And he made a life for himself lying about his mediocrity to other people. So no, I'm not going to mourn his death. I am going to mourn the death of all of the innocent women, men, and children that Israel is killing in Palestine. I am going to do that. I am going to mourn the death of all of the little children that have died in classrooms at the hands of crazy madmen, mostly always white men, that have killed innocent children in classrooms, thanks to our government who continues to do nothing about gun laws and gun protection. Okay? So I am going to mourn the lives of LGBTQIA plus people in the community who have been killed senselessly just because they are living a free and happy life. Charlie Kirk, I don't give a shit. And I am going to venture to say that most people feel like I do. Nevertheless, I still do believe that this was an inside job because Donald Trump really wants you to be distracted from the Epstein files. And by the way, Trump, where the fuck are they? We are not distracted and we still want them. And we're going to fucking get them. And you're going to be all over them because that is what your legacy is going to be. Okay, so moving on to social media. It is really important that we understand that right now, legacy media, and that includes Meta, Facebook and Instagram, and it also includes TikTok, is owned by far-right billionaires and people that are advocating for far-right policies, which means that they are going to push far-right narratives and they are going to oppress sincere, honest, and truthful left-leaning politics. I learned this a couple of years ago when I watched a documentary on Jamal Khashoggi. And they showed the reason why he was killed in Turkey and why Saudi Arabia had it out for him. And the way that they showed the Saudi Arabian government manipulating the social media in Saudi Arabia is the reason why Jamal Khashoggi fled and why they wanted to kill him is because he wanted to out them. And he wanted to say, listen, guys, none of this is true. That's what's happening now in the United States. You go on social media and you see things like pray for Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump is the best president in the United States. And you think it's another American citizen writing this. And then you get flooded, your feed gets flooded by all of these pro-Trump stances. And it's designed to make you believe that there's a lot of them. And the importance of our job is to understand that they are lying. There are not a lot of them. Legacy media, anything on TV now, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Newsmax, CBS, anything on television, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Paramount, literally anything on television. Anything that you're consuming that is not coming from interaction between you and someone else in your face, by the way, like person to person interaction, is fake. Their sole purpose is to make you believe that your voice is drowned, that there are more of them than there is of you. It is very important that we spend time speaking to our neighbors, to our friends, to our families, to our friends' friends, to our families' friends, one-on-one interaction. I guarantee you this. I promise you this. There is more of us than there is of them. And the way that they win, the way that fascism wins is when we give up. When we think that our vote doesn't matter, that our voices don't matter, that we don't matter, then they won. You have to be able to discern between what's real and what's not. This is where we're headed. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel, all mediocre white men who have failed their way up 17,000 times in order to become billionaires and are now telling you that they are more important than you and that you should just sit down and give up. And your response should be, go fuck yourself. You are all mediocre and we are strong in numbers. It is very important to literally say that mantra to yourself every single day. That should be the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up, okay? And then remember that as you move along these social media platforms every second of every day, all of the time. The feed is being pushed on purpose. There's not more of them. Spend more time talking to people in person and less time on social media, okay? I personally love to listen to different podcasts. I listen to Midas Touch. Sometimes even Midas Touch is not blunt enough for me. That's why I am trying to make my podcast be very, very, very honest. I, don't care if it gets an E next to it when it launches. Like, sometimes you'll see an E for explicit when you're on Apple Music searching for my iPod. I'm sorry, not on Apple, on Amazon Music or on Spotify, and that's fine. I just want to make sure that I am being my authentic self, because it's really important that we do not mitigate who we are in order to conform to what the machine is requiring of you. And even though I do like Midas Touch, they're under a lot of scrutiny because they've gained popularity. So they're not able to say all of the things that I'm able to say because I'm not as popular as them as they are. However, I am literally starting my podcast, and I have, even from season 1, being as honest as possible. So I'm not going to change that, right? I am, self-funded. So I will continue to literally bring you honesty from the get. Okay, so I think that we've covered a lot of bases, or the most important bases that I wanted to uncover. The last one being executive orders and the erosion of our liberties thanks to the Supreme Court. Now, executive orders are not law. Only Congress can pass laws. The Supreme Court is allowing a lot of executive orders to take action and to become temporarily ways that the current administration can execute some of its executive orders. But it's very important to understand the actual law of that as well, even when the Supreme Court is as corrupt as it is. And that is that no matter what the Supreme Court does with an executive order, the states ultimately still hold the power, right? So Donald Trump was going to send out the National Guard to Chicago, and that never happened because Governor Pritzker was like, fuck off. And most of the state is very blue, and so it was getting blocked all over the place, and he had to back down, and he couldn't do shit. The same thing happened in California, and the same thing is going to happen in blue states all over the country, right? Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for those small strongholds that we have around the country that are going to basically be the wall that's going to keep Donald Trump from going full-blown fascist on us until the midterms. Now, the wild card in the midterms is going to be Elon Musk and Starlink. We already know that he used Starlink for the 2024 election. Why no one on the blue side is doing anything about that or trying to make it so that it doesn't happen again is literally beyond me. The only thing I can think of is that they are also trying to convince Elon Musk to give them money. And ultimately, all of our politicians currently, except for a handful, care more about lining their pockets than they do about protecting democracy. So that is the only explanation I can come up with. And that really does include like Kamala Harris and her entire campaign. Like, why haven't they done more to assert what we already know happened, right? So that's going to be the wild card in 2026 for the midterms. But right now, if you pay attention across the country in every special election that we have had so far, progressive Democrats have not only won those seats, but they've won in a landslide. Like it wasn't even fucking close. And that's what happens in elections where national attention is not being paid. Then people actually get to voice their voices by casting ballots that aren't tampered with. And this is what happens. And so that's not going to happen so much in the midterms because there's going to be a lot of cheating, and we have to be very naive to think that there's none of that, right? There's cheating in every election in every country around the world, right? Some worse than others, yes, but it would be dumb for us to still believe in 2025 that it doesn't happen here. It does on both sides, right? Gerrymandering is one of the obvious reasons. It's one of the obvious ways that they cheat, but there's many other. There's ballot stuffing. There's so much, right? So having said all of that, though, it is very fucking important that every fucking single person votes in every single election that is in your community. Action happens from the bottom up, not from the top down. So be active in your community, vote in every single election, go to town halls, ask the uncomfortable questions, make sure that you are an active citizen, an active participant in our democracy, because it is ours if we can keep it. It is not guaranteed, as we're seeing, right? I'm going to leave you with this. Nothing special. I just want to leave it with something a little bit funny, or at least a little bit funny to me. And that is that I want to say, Donald Trump, that you are a complete idiot. I also want to say that I just learned that Jay-Z and Beyonce were at a gala fundraising event that Jay-Z is part host of, where they were sitting at the same table with Ivanka and Jared Trump. So I got to tell you guys, you can say whatever you want about my girl Taylor, but like, she takes a stance against something and you don't see her hobnobbing with fucking Ivanka Trump or the Trumps, period. Okay. So I've always said this about Beyonce. She doesn't really have a backbone, and we have to learn to pick who we are going to platform very, very carefully, right? Like, there are people worth platforming, and then there are people not worth platforming. These people have money because of us. Jay-Z and Beyonce have the money that they have because of us, because we made them famous. So we have to really be careful about who we're giving that attention to going forward. Okay, she is not it. She has not been it since a very long time. Ivanka Trump is definitely not it. Neither is her husband. Neither is her father-in-law. Neither is her father. Neither are her brothers. Neither are the Kardashian-Jenner clan. Neither is Bruce Jenner. And yes, I'm always going to call him Bruce because he's Bruce. He does not deserve the respect that he doesn't give other transgender people. And you know, as much as I love Taylor Swift, I don't, so far I'm going to say that I respect her more. I respect that billionaire more than I do others, but I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not being biased, because I might be, but I'm also going to leave room to change my mind in the future if she doesn't use her platform for good. Like, for example, Hannah Eidenberg from Hacks. If you haven't watched Hacks, I suggest that you do. It's on HBO Max. It is fucking amazing. This girl is not only a brilliant actress, but she is an amazing activist. And she takes every chance that she has and a platform to speak about freeing Palestine and being inclusive. And I love her for that, and I support her art because of it. Same goes for Jean Smart. Same goes for Jane Fonda. There are people that same goes for Barbara Streisand. There are people that we should definitely platform and continue to platform. And there are people that we should immediately stop platforming. You know who they are. I know who they are. We really need to take control of the narrative here in all of the spaces. And we need to build a better United States of America for everyone. The end. Full stop. I'll see you next week on The Liberal Conservative. Thanks so much for listening to me. Visuals are coming this month. I'm excited to share those with you too. Thank you for all of your support and for listening. Feel free to ask me questions. You can follow me on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok, TLC Podcast, or YM Grad. And I love you guys. Talk soon.